Drunk driving is a scourge in modern America. It causes property damage, injury, and worst of all, death. But after about a month and a half of research, I've come to the conclusion that it should not be illegal. So you might be thinking, whoa, this guy's crazy. Why does he think that drunk driving should be legal? Well, I've got some good evidence that I would like to show to you today. Basically, the idea of making drunk driving illegal comes from a kind of old and I would say primitive and ineffective way of lawmaking, which is basically just think bad, make it illegal, which doesn't work. For something to be illegal, we want making it illegal to actually reduce it, right? And a great example for why we shouldn't just make things illegal because they're bad. Take Prohibition in the 1920s. Back in the 1920s, alcoholism was running rampant. It was ruining homes, causing deaths, etc. So America decided we've had enough, and they passed an amendment to make drinking illegal. And it went terribly. Drinking actually increased. It caused organized crime. Tons of people went to jail. It was a bad time overall. And so they got rid of prohibition very soon after. Um, so now that I've shown you that just because something is bad doesn't mean we should make it illegal, we should only make it illegal if it actually will reduce it. So, do drunk driving laws reduce drunk driving? Well, there is counterintuitive evidence. Basically, one of the biggest proponents for drunk driving laws has been MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. And since their creation in 1980, according to the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, drunk driving incidents have gone down 80%, which is great. And there's a study from Routers I have that showed that as drinking laws got harsher in areas, drunk driving went down. Sounds like a great evidence for why we need drunk driving laws. Well, MAD and these drinking laws weren't just DUIs and drunk driving laws specifically. It was things like MAD specifically were a big part of the reason why the drinking age limit is 21 for every state. Back in the days, it was all different. Um, the Reuter study counts all drinking laws, not just DUIs. So things like um, time limits for when alcohol can be sold and how much alcohol can be sold are all accounted for. And all of these things can also be accounted towards public awareness. MAD caused more public awareness. Maybe the places with harsher drinking laws had more awareness of drunk driving. So there's no actual conclusive evidence that shows that drunk driving laws actually reduce drunk driving. Um, Not only this, but drunk driving isn't the only thing we need to stop in driving. Sleepy driving, for instance, is according to Dr. Ramon Raskin, can be just as bad as drunk driving or being impaired by any other substance. For instance, my grandfather actually a few months back got hit by a truck. The driver was not drunk. He was just sleepy, and they had to amputate his leg because of this. Drunk driving is not the only thing we need to stop, and the drunk driving laws don't actually are conclusive. They don't work. So what should we have instead of these drunk driving laws? I would propose a few things. One, more robust reckless driving laws. If somebody's driving all willy-nilly, crossing in and out of lanes, being absurd, you get pulled over, obviously. And then what the cops should do, it doesn't matter if you're drunk or if you're sleepy or if you are texting. You get pulled over and you get arrested and you get taken off the road so you can't cause an accident. Why should that only happen for drunk drivers? Next, ignition locks. These are things that make it so you can't actually start your car if you are drunk. So instead of just punishing people for drunk driving, make it so they just can't do it. That's a way better solution. And of course, changing public sentiment. As people know not to do something, then they'll just stop doing it. That's a much better effect than just punishing people for doing it. So, in conclusion, drunk driving laws do not work and they should be changed. They are ineffective. from an old, outdated way of making laws, and they can actually increase drunk driving casualties. They don't focus on many of the things that do need to be reduced, and there are many things that we need instead. So I ask you, audience, humbly, to go call your local representatives, call your senators, call them all, and say, hey, drunk driving laws don't work. I want you to change them. Thank you. I've been Rowan Wiles.